Oh, okay.
We'll make it official. Here we go. I'd just like to thank everybody for coming again tonight. Jessie Lang is our special guest tonight, so we do appreciate her and everybody that's joining us again tonight. Jessie Lang is from the Facebook group Unlocked, and so we'll hear a little bit about that tonight. But really, we're going to talk about the BRRRR strategy and what BRRRR is. It's not just because she's from Ohio and it's cold half the year.
I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah, Cindy doesn't know what BRRRR means because it's always beautiful and sunny in Arizona.
Yes, you're right.
But before we start talking about BRRRR strategies and long-term rentals, Jessie, not everybody knows who you are. So give us a little background about what is your background and how did you come into real estate and how did you get involved in all the different activities that we see you out on Facebook doing?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Definitely happy to be here. Happy to share my knowledge, my story. So if you can take even one thing away from this, then it was definitely worth our time. So my story, I grew up in Austin, Texas, we're in Columbus, Ohio now, and similar cities in a lot of ways, but I never thought I would ever be in Columbus, Ohio. This is like so out of left field. We've now been here 6 years, so it's become home. But at the time I was like, came here for a job, and I knew that okay, I'll back up. So I grew up in Austin and went to college, graduated, got a job, bought a house. They say get married, have kids. I'll do that. I didn't do some of them, but I did. I did do some of them, and bought a house, this like crappy little condo. And the bank had no business giving me that loan, but I'm very thankful that they did. And then I was living there with roommates. So you've probably heard of house hacking. And I was house hacking before I even knew that it was a term or anything about real estate. I was just like, hey, I can hardly afford this mortgage, and I should probably get some roommates. So I got some roommates, and they were paying the bills, and it was like sweet setup. So I was able to save some money. Then I split with my partner at the time, and in the span of 2 weeks, I went from living in a house with 2 roommates to being completely moved out, and I had 4 college boys who were renting the place from me, and I had not a clue what I was doing, completely making it up as I went. And I always joke that those boys could have ended my real estate career before it even began if they were bad, but thankfully they were awesome residents. And so moved into another house, bought another house, was doing the same thing there. Bought the next year, bought another house, was doing the same thing there. So at this point I had roommates at the house I was in, plus 2 long-term rentals. And I mean, my bills were covered, my bills were paid. It was a really good gig, and I was able to save a lot of money. So I knew that real estate, like in the back of my head, I was like, this is super cool. Like people are paying me money and I don't feel like I'm doing really that much. And instead of taking it seriously, 2016, I went to go travel the world for a year, which was, it was awesome. It was great. I met my wife, I was introduced to the job that brought us to Columbus during that year. So it was a very transformational year, like really, really happy that I did it. And while I was traveling, I basically ran out of savings, right? As you do. So I always joke that I was like playing real life Monopoly, because I was just like, oh, I'll just sell a house. So I sold one of the houses in Texas and was able to continue the year. Job brought us to Columbus. And this whole time I'm like, okay, real estate's cool. It provided a lifestyle, it provided a year of travel, and it provided like a lump sum of money when I didn't really know what to do, right? So I was working a job that was not in real estate, project management, and I was going to all these networking. I was going to meetups. I was going to, our local RIA. If you're not going to your RIA, highly recommend. That's like a great place to start. I was meeting local people. Like, this is great, but it's different to meet someone like in your backyard, right? Who you can shake hands with, grab a beer with, whatever. So I was meeting all those people, and I was like, okay, this is a career. this is a career I could be doing. And a year and a half into my job here, I quit. I gave him my notice. I said, I'm going real estate full time. I did not make money for 6 months. It was definitely stressful, but we got our systems. We were wholesaling when I first started, and it was, I wish at that time I knew what I know now, as we always do, because I was selling everything for 2 full years. I was like selling everything, and man, God, those prices were so good. But what I know is that I missed the boom in Austin. I missed it. I was able to buy 3 houses, but it was all with owner financing, like owner occupant financing. I was getting preferred terms. I wasn't investing, I was just buying my own house. So I completely missed the investor market in Austin. And the cities are so similar in so many ways. So I was like, well, I need to start buying like every single thing that I can, because what happened in Austin is happening in Columbus. Like, I mean, I'm watching it every single day. We've been here 6 years now, and every single day it's growing, and all the projects, and everywhere is growing. So about 3 years ago, I really started getting serious about buying rentals. And then about 2 years ago, I got really serious about the BRRRR method. Because my first couple of years, I was shiny object, like, I would wholesale something. I tried some Airbnbs with like our personal house. I tried a bunch of stuff. I looked into storage units. Like I did a lot. And at that time, I had to pick something. And I knew that long-term rentals worked for me because I had kind of done it in my little past life. So I stuck to long-term rentals. That was about 3 years ago now that I really got serious. And we're up to about 65 doors, spread between about 2/3 single family and about 1/3 small apartments. So that's how I ended up here. Columbus is filled with affordable housing. I didn't have a lot of money when I was starting, so it made sense to buy the cheaper properties. And then I got really comfortable in the space and comfortable with our residents, comfortable, with the process. And it's been really rewarding to like watch that grow into like a real business instead of just like me dabbling on the side like I was for so many years. So
what a great story, Jessie.
Yeah.
And you and I kind of started in the real estate the same way, unintentionally. And it was just something, okay, I needed a place to live. So I wanted to buy a house. And at the time I was working full-time as an engineer. So I went and bought a house that needed work because I didn't want to pay full price. That wasn't a real estate investor. I was just the way I was built and wired, right? So I moved into the house, I gutted it, I lived there, and we remodeled it. And a couple of years, took me almost 2 years to flip that house. And then I went, that's not a bad little hobby. And repeat the process. But more than a decade of work, not knowing what real estate investing really was. I was just kind of stumbling my way through it. Picking up doors and figuring it all out. If only I knew all the stuff and information that was out there. Now, back then, what a difference.
I was looking through some emails for something the other day, and I saw some like of the very first wholesale deals I started getting, and they were like houses for like $30K that now are like, easily 100, 150. I'm like, dang it. I wish I would have known what I know now then. But then to give myself grace on that, like in 10 years, I'll be looking at today's prices saying the same thing.
We just had that conversation the other night, is that when's the best time to get into real estate? 20 years ago. When's the second best time? Today.
Yeah.
Right. There's no other better time than to get involved and get moving, because just like planting a tree, you can't wait to plant a full-size tree. You got to start where you're at.
Shane, I say the exact same thing. When's the best time to plant a tree? 5 years ago. Second best time today.
Yeah. I guess I missed your timeline. You said you have 65 doors. What time?
65.
What time period was those acquired in?
It's been about 3 years
About 3
since
years.
I got, yeah, it's been quick. So it's
That
been,
is that. Yes, that is very quick. Whoa.
yeah,
See,
we
we are
have,
behind the eight ball. We only got 50.
And then that time, not only have you acquired 65 doors, but you were wholesaling. So you processed a lot more deals than that.
yeah,
You
yeah,
just
we have
had-
easily 150 transactions.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm going to warn you straight up. The other night we had a guest on. We spoke for 2 hours.
Okay.
In the last
I
15
have to
minutes,
eat dinner, so I can't.
last 15 minutes, he finally says, I never got to my presentation. So if you have a presentation or a path in mind, let me know. Otherwise, we'll just have this wonderful conversation. And see
Yeah, we can keep chatting. I have something I'll add at the end, but we can keep talking.
When you first were looking at doing some wholesale deals, and we're doing wholesale deals, what was your lead source for that?
We did, well, when I first started, again, very little money. So I was cold calling myself. Kind of graduated into being able to pay cold callers. I've dabbled in direct mail. The majority of our business for a good chunk of time, solid 2 years, was cold calling and texting. Those were kind of combined. And then we got a lot of leads on Google pay-per-click.
All right.
Yeah. So Google ads were fantastic until they weren't. The algorithms changed, the competition changed, and they just stopped being effective. And that was probably just about 12 months ago.
And we always
So
say
we dropped that one.
You have to be able to roll with the punches, right?
Yes.
Just when you find something that works, something changes about it. The market shifts. If you're relying on Facebook
And the algorithm, they could just turn you off like that.
Oh, we lost
Google,
Shane.
algorithms change, and you
Yeah.
have to be ready. Yeah.
So
I want to go back and talk about your house hacking for a minute, because we always get a lot of people coming into the group saying, I don't know where to start. And like you've already mentioned, there are dozens upon dozens of ways to get involved in real estate, right? There's not just a path. It's really what works for you. But a great place, I think, to start, because everybody needs a place to live, is house hacking. Can you explain a little bit about what house hacking is?
Yeah. So house hacking is the idea that you, as an individual person, not an entity, are buying a property for you to live in. So it's very common to use like an FHA loan or a conventional loan, because you're going to get preferred terms over what an investor would get. Better interest rates, typically 30-year fixed, lower closing costs a lot of the times, lower down payments. And you're able to buy up to 4 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4 units would all qualify under these like preferred lending options. And then from there, you can rent out by the room. If you buy a multifamily, if you buy a duplex, you rent out the one next to you. A 4 unit, obviously you're getting 3 people paying rent. If you're really aggressive, you rent out your own rooms too. And at that point, I mean, not only is your mortgage and bills covered, like you are profiting every single month, and your housing is covered, right? So it's a really great way to start. I was young and I was a little bit crazy. I think this was 10 years ago. So I think things have changed a bit. I would just be really cautious with like who you're letting live in your house. I was just like, oh, cool, you can pay rent, come on down.
Yeah.
So maybe like be a little more cautious about who you're letting in. And, also if you have a family, if you have kids, it may not work to have a roommate. But in that scenario, like buy a duplex, buy a fourplex, because you don't have to live with the person, share a kitchen, all that, but you still get the benefits. Like I was sharing a kitchen, I shared a bathroom at one point. Like it was very aggressive.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would recommend that, but it's possible.
But because you are occupant of the structure, whether it's a single family home or a duplex, or like you said, all the way up to a 4 unit, the bank looks at you differently than a non-owner occupied investor.
Correct.
And then gives you different terms. So it's really a great place to start. And once you get to be that non-owner occupied, you get different FICO requirements and background checks and income requirements.
They're not as strict, but you pay for it in other ways.
Yes, especially now we're seeing, again, rates going up and some tightening going on. So
I mean, I think it's a fantastic way to start. It's one method. It's also a little bit slow, right? Because they're only going to let you buy a new house every year, or the banks start asking a lot of questions about why you need all these owner occupant loans. Like, why are you moving all the time? So that's one way to start. If you want to go kind of a faster route to start, we look like since I unlocked BRRRR as our model, I will never look back. I mean, of course I'll dabble, but like, this is such a core proven strategy that, I mean, really it takes a lot less money than people think to actually get it going. But I mean, should I go into BRRRR?
Oh, please.
Okay. So that it's BRRRR, 4 R's. So it's buy, rehab. I know this very well, don't worry. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. So buy, you're buying with hard money or private money, because we're not putting our long-term money on it yet. We're buying it. It needs some work. We're going to need to do a renovation, right? So we're buying a house that's distressed under market value with hard or private money. Then we're renovating it. So we are forcing appreciation. We are making that property worth more than it is today, or say you put 30K into it, we're forcing 50K, right? Mm-hmm. So you're adding value that wasn't there, in addition to what you're putting into it, right? Then you're gonna get it rented. So you get it rented at market rate because it's renovated. You have a nice new property, new windows, new roof, like, it's set, it's good to go. And then you're getting a renter in there at market rent, and you're taking this nice little package that you've created, a nice house with a market paying rent. You're taking this to a lender, to a long-term lender, and you're refinancing it. And you're pulling out all of your initial investment from the purchase and the rehab. And then typically a bank will give you 75% loan to value, LTV. So say it's worth, this is the example I use. If it's worth 140, 75% of that is 105, okay? Say you bought it for 75 and you put 30 into it, right? So 75 plus 30 is 105. Well, it's worth 140. The bank will give you all of your 105 back, and you still own this.
Right.
So you have 25% equity in a property that you owe no money on. I mean, sorry, you do owe money. You have a mortgage, but you have none of your own money in that deal.
So all the money used up front to rehab, purchase and rehab the house, at that time you're refinancing. The goal is to get all that money out.
They're giving it back to you.
And if you get a little extra out of it, even better.
Yep. And if you have to leave a little bit of money in, that's not the end of the world, right? Because you still have this asset that you maybe have 20% equity or even 15% equity. But that is money that you created out of thin air by your expertise and your labor to improve the product and make it into a package that the bank wants to lend on.
So what's the hardest part of that process? Is it identifying the initial investment property, making sure that your numbers kind of work so that you know that you don't go crazy on the rehab and you don't get the money back out?
Yeah, that's a hard question because BRRRR is not, you have to know a lot. You have to know a lot. It doesn't mean that you have to know it. I am so big on team building. I would be nowhere where I am today without the people around me, like 100%. So did I know how to run comps? No, but my agent did, right? Like, did I know what renovations to do? No, but my contractor did. And so there are a lot of components that you have to know, but it doesn't mean that you have to know them. So to your question, currently my biggest struggle of each of those four right now is refi. We're having the banks just are not giving the terms they were. I mean, and I don't really have a choice. So yeah. And the deals still work. They're just not as good. Sorry, go ahead.
I have a question. Shane, can I ask a question?
Sure,
sorry,
please.
I don't want to interrupt, but so for a lot of newbies here, like I know how we're starting here, right? I know how did you get the money for your first house? Did you use other people's money? How did you get money for your second house?
So
did you just
I was wholesaling.
Okay,
no, well, okay. So I was wholesaling. Okay. So I had active, but I will back up, and all wholesaling was a form of active income. You can have a W-2 that's active income. You can be a real estate agent. That's active income. It doesn't matter what your active income is, but I mean, a BRRRR, I mean, okay, think about the timeline, right? You have to identify it and close on it. You have to renovate it. You have to get it rented and through a full bank underwriting refinance. So you're not, if you're making money on this, it's not coming for minimum 6 months. 4 to 6 months. I mean, if you had a 2-week carpet and paint rehab, you could kind of, and you had your renter lined up, you can tighten it down, but we safely say 6 months. So you're not getting paid for 6 months. So you better have some sort of active income.
Right.
So mine happened to be wholesaling. Yours could be bartending. It doesn't matter as long as you have something, but we used hard money. And then I had some savings, but there's markets, like if you're using hard money, they're typically looking at about 12% out of pocket, but that's the purchase and the rehab. So most hard lenders will lend on 90% of the purchase price and 100% of the rehab, as long as the numbers make sense, right? So if you max out your hard money, you're looking at about 12% out of pocket. That's with their fees, their points, their binder, prep, title work. That's literally, if it was $100K they're lending you, you need $10K. How you get that $10K could be a private money lender, could be a partner, could be your own savings, could be, I mean, you can raise it. It could be infinite.
As many ways as there are in real estate investing.
Yeah.
Right? There's that many different ways to find funds. There really is.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of ladies in the group are like, where do I start? I don't have no money. How do I start? You know, that's what I was trying to have you address.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's not irresponsible. There's so many gurus out there saying you don't need any money.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so risky. You should have some money. Like it doesn't have to be as much as you think. Everyone thinks, oh, I need $100K to get into real estate. You don't. You could start in Columbus at least, and I know there's markets that are even more affordable, 10, 15,000 out of pocket, and that could be a partner's money. You know, you bring the knowledge and they bring the money, and you go 50-50 on the first one, the first 2, 3, until you get a little savings going. Like just because you need that, you should be responsible for that money, but it doesn't have to be your money.
And we see that a lot, and we've done that as well on a different level, but sometimes what you need to do is just partner up with the right people.
100%. Yep.
Find groups like yours or ours. There's plenty of people at different starting points. Some people have money, some people have time. Pair up and work together and solve each other's problems, right?
At our local RIA, we have a segment of every meeting called the haves and the wants.
Nice.
And I mean, if you don't have something similar, maybe like go to your RIA, pitch it, because that is the place people come up and say, I have 5 hours a week. And they say, I have this deal that I can't afford. Okay. Or like, hey, I have some money, and you match up. So just getting in front of people who are local to you. And not that it couldn't happen digitally, but I think a lot of times that face-to-face communication is really key to like building that trust.
Absolutely.
So
And it really
go to your
helps.
RIAs.
Go to your RIAs. It really helps with the cement people together and they click, right?
Yeah. And you know where they live so that you can find them if they don't do what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
That's why I moved all the way to Michigan so I can be far away from Cindy so she can't track me
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, she can't find you. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I really wanted to hurt him because he sold 10 acres. Oh my God. I got 10 acres in Texas. He did it behind me.
Oh no.
Snuck out in the middle of the night.
Yeah. That's a story for another time.
So right now you are in your BRRRR method, you are rehabbing houses. And a lot of people have talked about in this market with the interest rates being where they're at. It's kind of risky because time you bought the house, did your analysis, the market pricing may have shifted in that 6 months or more. So people are kind of getting pinched. Is that kind of leveled out now? No.
I mean, rates have leveled, but they haven't come down. They've leveled. I really got into BRRRR when it was a really nice interest rate market. So I'll just be honest, like I'm figuring it out now, right? But the thing is, the rates increased, but so did the values. So when we're looking at percentage of loan to value, even if I'm paying a little bit more each month, the bank is going to give me more. It still has worked out. Like rents have increased as well. And I think that's true nationwide. So it's complemented. Like yes, rates have gone up, but kind of everything else has gone up with it. So there's a small pinch, but this is a good segue. Everyone, let me talk quickly about the other benefits of owning rentals that people don't think about. So we're all worried about cash flow. If I'm not getting my $400 a month, this isn't a good deal. Okay. There's plenty of other ways to make money that are not just cash flow. So you have appreciation, natural increase in value over time, right? You have principal pay down. Someone else is paying your mortgage. It's brilliant. Someone else is paying it for you. You have tax advantages. Like the amount of money we saved on in taxes in the last couple of years is absurd. So, and then you have potential cash out refi if you do it, if you do your BRRRR right. You have, no one talks about this one, credit card points. My family has not paid to travel in 4 years, and we travel a lot. I haven't paid to get on a flight, to get on a rental car, anything in 4 years. So we're all so worried about cash flow. You're like, that interest rate, I just can't buy it because that rate's going to crush me. Okay. You make $200 a month instead of $300. I'm not worried about it, because there's so many other advantages.
That's all good points. Because I mean, Shane and I were looking at a house today, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's only $400 cash flow." We didn't think about. Well, it's still not going to work out because of other reasons, but we didn't think about. Yes, we do know about tax depreciation, but I'm thinking, oh my God, now we can use our points.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. If I ask every single contractor, like I said, we're big on team building. I have a whole series of questions. I ask anyone I'm going to work with. We collect their documents, blah, blah, blah. Can I pay with credit card? If you say yes, you're getting a little bonus star on your name. Because if I can pay it with a credit card, I'm going to. And of course, you have to have the money to pay it right back. But don't just put it on credit card.
Oh, I hear you. I agree 100%.
Yeah. I mean, we've saved easily 10 grand on travel. Easily.
There was a post in a group. I don't think it was ours. Maybe it was the sub 2 group, but there was a real estate investor, and that was his whole comment and story was he built his real estate adventure around airline points, right? So he's built his business using that so that he would go on a trip every year, wherever, and not have to worry about it. Right? He'd go around the world on points that he made. So he said, if you're not out traveling and you're in real estate, you're doing it wrong. You should, he gave the whole story around it. So I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Again, it shows that being creative in this market, right? There's so many different ways to make money, but you got to be in the game.
Yeah.
If
Yeah, exactly right. I just would caution, everyone, you see the headlines, interest rates are sky high. If that is stopping you from getting into real estate, you can reach out to me. I will look at any deal for you. Honestly, I'll help you analyze the cash flow. We will look at how is that rate actually affecting you, because it's just scare tactics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'll happily look at a deal for anyone.
And Cindy and I go back and forth this, because so many of the gurus out there say zero money down. You don't have to, no money out of your pocket. Well, that may be true, but you just walk over 100 different deals to find the one that is actually zero money out of your pocket. When if you had a little bit, it's so much easier to find deals, or you have to come up with 5% or 10%.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're getting it back in 6 months.
Right.
Rather
than taking a year to go find that one deal, you could have done 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah. People get analysis paralysis. And and Darlene says you can always refinance later. That's exactly right, because you still own the asset. It's your asset. It's your money. Yeah. You're making the decisions on it. So yeah, that's a great point.
Can I ask you, because I know this is a topic for me and Shane, I believe for the rest of everyone in here, when it comes to affordable housing, are you using like Section 8? How are you marketing towards your affordability?
So we do have some residents in the Section 8 program, housing choice voucher program. I don't necessarily target it in Columbus. It's actually a 8th protected class. So the source of income is a protected class. So we cannot discriminate as a housing provider. So it doesn't matter where their money comes from. We had a girl, she ended up not moving forward, but I would have accepted her in a second. Her source of income was her statement from OnlyFans. She made so much money. I'm like, okay, well, legally I can't discriminate because it's your source of income. Like it's income, right? I can't. So we can't discriminate on a housing choice voucher. That said, I don't necessarily like market directly. So for us, affordable housing is just within the parameters of like what the city considers affordable. It's not necessarily like part of a government program, although we do have some housing choice residents. So it's a great, I think we would accept more. It's not that we don't want to, right? I submit applications all the time. It's that it's a government entity and they are so disorganized and they are so behind that, and I've spoken with them. I could not even place a resident through the program if I wanted to. They make it that difficult. So it's not that we don't want to, it's that in Columbus specifically, and it could be different in everyone's markets, like it's just so dysfunctional. It's very difficult to even place someone if you wanted to. I know.
It's sad. Yeah.
I've had some very stern words about they're doing a disservice to the people they're trying to serve. And it's not, this is maybe a separate note. We need a private consultant to come in and fix it and then let them run it. But until then, no, it's not efficient. So I got to get my unit rented.
Exactly. You have to get your unit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Oh, the government. Yeah. Hard to believe. So I want to do more, but they don't make it very easy.
So how are you primarily sourcing or finding your tenants for your properties?
So we do everything. We have software that syndicates out to all the major sites. We do not put a for sale sign in the window, or sorry, for rent sign in the window or the front yard. In a lot of the affordable neighborhoods that we're in, I don't need to advertise that my property is vacant. That's not wise. So we don't do that. We do everything. Once you become our resident, everything we do is digital. All your payments are digital, all communication is digital. So we have found that finding someone on a digital platform aligns with what they're going to, the skills that they will need to be a successful resident with our company. So we are always trying to find people online.
Software do you use?
So I started with Tenant Cloud. I was with them for about 3 years. Nothing wrong whatsoever. We did outgrow it a bit. So we just, about Q1 this year, we switched over to Buildium.
Buildium?
Mm-hmm. And they're definitely more expensive. Like,
right.
Tenant Cloud starts at $9 a month for the base features, like so affordable. Like, even if you have one unit, just get in the habit, like put it on there now, because $9, like if you can't afford $9, you should not be in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. And it just shoots out to like all these different platforms, your rentals.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right,
so the syndication,
okay.
Yeah. So the syndication through Buildium, I want to say it goes to like, I put in my profile in Buildium. I think it goes to 8 or 10 different sites. But we funnel everyone back through Zillow. So we take Zillow applications. We require an application before seeing a property. We don't even let you see it until you have an application in. Because I spent years running around the city showing to people who weren't serious.
Right.
Yes.
Then you're going to fill out an application while showing the property.
Yeah. If you won't fill out an application, either you're hiding something that would disqualify you, or you're not serious about moving. And people will like kind of curse you out a bit. Why? You just want my money. I'm like, I'm not getting your money. Zillow is. So I don't just want your money. I don't care.
Right. You don't get any of it.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't rent the place. And then people who are serious, they have no problem. They submit it right away.
You know, and it's a good point, Jessie, that if you want everybody to run electronically, then that's where you look for.
It took me a little while to figure that out.
We just acquired a bunch of tenants that were sourced by the previous owner, right? And we're trying to put our model of management on them. And we're like, well, for maintenance, here's an email link. And then we got this response like, I don't have email. And we're like,
yeah, wait, what? Yeah.
So now we're trying to backpedal and figure out some new things for people to, everything's now got to be by phone call or texting.
Yeah, I do. So I would there's 2 features on why we switched to Buildium, because switching 65 units is like not a small undertaking. So we didn't take the decision lightly. I did a lot of research, and the issue with our current setup, there was 2 issues, but one of the main ones was Tenant Cloud switched their back-end payment processor to whoever they use behind the scenes that no longer accepted a Cash App card and no longer accepted Visa gift cards. So we had 5 to 10 residents up in arms because they can no longer pay their rent, right? Because they just aren't accepted. So they were having, until we made the switch, they were going to a couple were mailing checks, which was an exception to the rule. A couple were going to get cash out, and then they would walk into a Chase branch and deposit it, and there was like very little pay. It was a mess because they stopped accepting the forms of payment that my residents needed. Right. So we switched to Buildium. They offer something called Pay Near Me, and it allows a resident for like $4 fee to walk into any bill pay station that's on the program. It's all Walgreens, Kroger's. I think they say 2,000 around the nation. Like every major city has multiple. They can walk in and pay their bill the same they would pay a water bill, electric, whatever. They scan something on the app, like the teller scans something on the app. They pay cash, they pay Visa, they pay whatever method they want. And it's updated in our system automatically without any work from me.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
So that was a huge catalyst in our switch over because we were not meeting the needs of our residents. And listen, speaking to other investors here, I'm trying to take your money. I want your money. I'm going to make it easy to take your money. I'm not going to make it hard to take your money because why would I put any friction there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because friction just leads to late pays,
Yeah.
which leads to other problems, right?
Yeah.
And
so if you're really thinking about affordable housing, maybe just bite the bullet. I think building with just a few units, I think the base is even like 150 a month. And then it goes up with the number of units. But if you're looking at affordable housing, maybe just bite the bullet and pay it, because they offer some features that I know a lot of other software don't offer, that are going to be impactful for your residents' day-to-day life. So we're really, really big on treating, I mean, if you notice, I don't say tenant, I say resident. Like I'm not just here to make money, although obviously that is important as well. We provide clean, safe, affordable housing. It's something that I am proud of. It's something that I'm passionate about. And it goes a really long way, right? So we need to meet our folks where they are and make their lives easy, because they, in so many situations, already have it hard enough. We don't need to make it any harder.
So Jesse, in our BRRRR strategy, the first R is the rehab.
Yeah.
We're buying.
Sorry about dogs.
So we're buying. Well, this is real life, right? Everything.
Yeah.
This is the way we live our lives. So, so once we buy a house that's a little distressed, we're going to rehab it. What are some of the pros and cons and things to look out for in that rehab process?
Yes. Great question. We preach safety and function. If you cannot first afford to fix the safety and the functional items, you have no business touching anything cosmetic. Safety and function first, always. Now, you know, depending on your comps, depending on what you're trying to get to, you also do need a budget for cosmetic. Mm-hmm. But if you are only doing cosmetic and you're not looking at safety and function, you are doing the wrong repairs. The wrong repairs that are going to cause you headaches down the line. So that's what we're always saying. Safety or function, and cosmetic comes third. And if you have to do cosmetic and you cannot afford it in your budget, then it's not a deal. Don't buy
it. And by you being all your houses kind of in all your units being in one location, right? In one greater city area.
Yes.
It's much better than all over the US, kind of like how we ended up being spread here. You have the ability that your contractors that you use now for rehab are also available for a tenant who's got, or a resident. No, not
us. We have it split pretty distinctly. We have an occupied maintenance crew. They're just doing, resident occupied. We have our main construction crew. They won't touch anything occupied, but they're fast and heavy hitters, right? And then we actually have kind of in the middle, we have a turnover crew. So it's someone who's going to be doing more than a couple maintenance items. They're people that we're kind of maybe grooming to be a larger crew, but they're not quite there yet. So they can do paint touch-ups. They can, minor wear and tear kind of stuff. And so those are actually 3 fully separate roles for us. And they're all 1099. No one's in-house.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Was it a struggle to find those 3 roles?
Yeah. Yes, we kissed a lot of frogs. But we've had our crews now. Man, Luis, our handyman, has been with us almost just coming up on a year, which in this industry is like actually pretty long. And he's familiar with all of our properties. It takes time to build up to, but once you get that person who understands, they know the resident, they know what the problem is because they're familiar with the property. It's just so much more efficient than trying to have to explain it every time. So like back to team building, we treat him well, we pay him fast. I'm always talking about pay fast. As soon as he sends me text and the pictures of the work done, I'm on my phone within the hour getting him paid, because when I have an emergency, guess who he's going to come to? The person who pays him as soon as it's done.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, he's not going to have to worry about that friction, right?
Yeah.
He knows Jesse's going to take care of him.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there being 1099, he could disappear tomorrow, but we've built that relationship where, I mean, even a W-2 could disappear tomorrow, but still, we built that relationship where he enjoys, I mean, maybe not enjoys, but is like who likes cleaning out a dirty toilet, like unclogging a toilet, but he likes working for us.
I got a text from Cindy. She apologizes. She just lost her internet.
Oh no.
And I said, how ironic.
I was wondering.
Before this meeting started, I told her I might be the one that loses the internet because of the storm, but
yeah, I'm not trying to cut you off. I have about 15 more minutes.
Perfect.
Cool.
So is there any other part of the BRRRR strategy that you want to touch on that we don't lose because we're kind of running out of time?
Yeah. I will say, like, there are 4 R's. We've touched on buy. We've definitely touched on, rehab, safety function. We kind of went out of order, but we've touched on renting and leasing, and we've touched on the refi. So the thing that a lot of people overlook is that the repeat, they just think, oh, that like there's no steps. Oh, you just do it again. No, there's steps. Okay. You have to reconcile all of your bank accounts. You did your BRRRR calculator when you started. You need to go back and look at that again, because you're going to have lessons learned. You're going to say, okay, I projected our rehab would be 30K. It was 32. What can I learn from that? Right. So there's steps there. They say repeat. I say reset. It's, for me, it's a reset. Like, let's debrief everything we've done, lessons learned, put all of our ducks back in a row, and let's do it again. You got to pay back your private money lenders. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes on there. And then you pay them back, you check in with your private hard money lenders. If you're using private money, and you'll get to the point where you're raising 100%, like, because you know what you're doing at this point. So, we'll give a lender back $200,000, and you better believe I'm giving them a phone call right away. Hey, right. What you doing with that 200K you just got back? And then we just do it again. Yeah, we just do it again. So we've raised, I have easily $2 million, probably close to $3 million, but it's probably the same $1 million many times, right?
Well, and again, once you build that relationship with your private money lenders, they want to come back.
Yeah.
Right?
We started with one guy with 50K, did a deal, did a good job, paid him back well within the maturity date. He was happy, easy communication. Came back the next time, was like, hey, I actually have 400. I was like,
you were just giving me a little sample to see how you did.
Like, let's go. Yeah. So that opened up a whole new buying possibilities,
So how did you source your private money lenders?
I will tell you, just give me 1 second because my dog. Laura, Bingo's trying to get in there. Can you help him? Sorry, my dog he's old and grouchy. How did I source? So actually a good source he's doing something, is family and friends. That it doesn't have to be like your rich uncle or something. It's typically someone who has been in a career for a long time. Your peers, young people my age, they probably don't have the money that we're looking to raise, but even just the salt of the earth, someone who's worked hard their whole life and they've invested, I mean, they could easily have 50, 100K in a 401k that isn't earning what it could be. Someone who maybe has their house paid off. And not me, but I have a buddy, his whole model is working with folks to help them get a HELOC. All right. They get a HELOC at 4%. He gives them 10% because they have equity in their house. So it doesn't have to be like someone you see flashy, Rolex, Corvette, whatever. It's just someone who they've been investing for some time, even if it's just a small amount of time, because we all know that compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Yeah.
And the real estate game doesn't have to be, oh my gosh, I gotta make $1 million next month doing real estate.
Yo, you won't.
Get into it, right? Get into a property. It may not seem like this get rich quick scheme because it's not, but when you're looking at clearing $100, $200, $300 a month in rent on a house, you go, don't get discouraged by that either, because that is compounding in so many different ways that Jesse already kind of identified. Once you get into that and then can repeat it, it may seem really slow at first, but in a couple of years, you'll look back and go, wow, look how far I've come.
Yeah. And if you're familiar, with the amortization schedule, someone else is paying your mortgage, and the first year, hardly any of that goes to principal. Like, really, I mean, you could laugh at it. By years 7, 8, 15 of someone else paying your mortgage, it's significant every single month. It's not only the cash flow you're getting, but it's also a bigger amount that they're paying of your mortgage every single month.
Yeah, and at some point that actually crosses, right, where you're actually getting more.
You're paying
pay down than you probably are at cash flow.
Yeah, I haven't reached that yet, but I think it's around like the 10 or 12 year mark. So,
well, I don't want to steal all your time, so I just want to give a few minutes here for anybody else that has questions.
Yeah. Y'all just ignore. There's some stuff going on in my house, but y'all just ignore that. Yeah, opening questions.
All right, anybody? I lost Cindy, so I'm struggling here for just a second. So if you have your hand raised or just want to unmute and ask a question, please do.
Hi, I have a question. You seem like somebody who is a go-getter. Listen, I'm really new to real estate. I want to, I work in a hospital, as you can tell with my darn accent. And listen, I've never owned a property myself. I'd like to go through the process of go ahead and doing a fix and flip. At the same time, I have like an LLC that I'm just opening for wholesaling. And dude, so I'm trying to like work, get pre-approved for a house. I'd like to fix and flip that. In that process, learn about like, you know what I'm saying, like contracting and all the stuff that you're doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then like wholesale and hopefully like, you know what I'm saying, like generate some money. That's the thought. But
that's how I got started.
Right. So watch this. What if you get halfway in that and you're like, I'm just going to BRRRR this? Is that possible to do that? Or no? Am I switching?
You're saying if it was a rehab, like a flip?
Yeah. Well, I'm not flip. Like I guess like a light turnover, let's say, like, cause I would like live in it for like a few years and then go ahead and try to sell. But what if you get in, is it possible to go ahead and just live in it like 3 years and then be like, I'm just going to rent this out?
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
It's so crazy how much you can do. I'm just learning so much. I'm so sorry. Okay, you can do anything. But watch this. If I get a hard money lender for the house, and then I go ahead and put my own like 3 to 7% down. I live in LA, so that's a scary freaking number. But God will do it. But I'm thinking, like, what about if I need another like private money lender for like these wholesaling? I don't know. What do you think? How did you do that? Because you can't be going to like a hard money lender for all the stuff you're trying to do. Like, what would you?
Okay, so you definitely cannot go to a hard money lender to start a wholesale company. Like they're doing, it's asset backed loans, so they need to. They're securing. It's secured by a house, right?
Right.
So they wouldn't be able to help you in that regard. You would probably need to just invest your own time until you have money. Like get your first couple deals, then you can start paying for other marketing channels, etc. But I would not buy your own personal residence with hard money, because those are typically really high interest and like we were talking about in the beginning, you're getting preferred terms by being an owner occupant.
Yeah.
Preferred terms is like the length of the loan, the interest rate, the points, anything surrounding.
Was that hard money? But wasn't that hard money? You went to a bank and got that loan? No.
Well, there's a difference between a hard money lender and institutional money.
Yeah.
See, so there you go. Okay, I got to go to school.
Most of your hard money lenders, your investor loans, won't allow you to be an owner occupant.
Correct.
Okay.
And they make you check a box, and if you do live in it, it's now mortgage fraud. So don't do that. I mean, it's a fraud. You said you weren't going to live in it, and then you moved in.
No, dude. So what do I do? Wait a minute. I would get locked up.
Yeah. So it sounds like you probably could start with house hacking. I would recommend using owner-occupant financing, so a more traditional bank.
Correct. Yeah.
You're looking for like a 30-year conventional or 30-year FHA.
And again, that's what I did on my very first house. Is I bought it a conventional mortgage, and I lived in it, and it took me 2 years to rehab it. But that's because you're working full time and trying to live in there.
Yeah.
And
they're going to make you live in it for a year anyways. So even if it's a slow rehab that you do over a year or 2 years, not a big deal. And bonus points, if you live in it for 2 years and then you rent it out for 3 years, you don't have to pay capital gains because you lived in it for 2 of the last 5 years. If you let it go over 5 years, if you move out for 3 years in 1 day, you now are paying capital gains on the profits that you made.
Okay.
We have one that we're about to sell because I used to live in it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And again, that's another one of those amazing ways to make money in real estate, other than just cash flow, right? So we got this deferred tax
advantage. Yeah. I mean, I just for the sake of math, I could either pay 20K capital gains or I could sell it and pay 0 capital gains. I'm gonna take my 20K and put it somewhere else all day.
Right.
I'm not gonna. I mean, whatever. I'm gonna pay as few taxes as I legally can.
Any other questions? Stephanie says, "Thank you so much."
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm back, but I'm gonna have to rewatch what I missed. I'm so mad.
Cindy, are you back?
I'm back. I'm back on the phone.
I hear you, but I don't see you. So you're just on the phone. Okay. Well, we're wrapping up. Cindy, did you have anything else for Jessie?
No, I'm good. I'll have to rewatch. If I have anything, I'll reach out to Jessie.
I'm about to post everyone. My Facebook group, I just posted it in the chat. So it's another investor group similar to Cindy and Shane, and we focus on the BRRRR method, as you've heard all about. It's a pretty lively community. I go live every single Tuesday. So similar to this, we have guest speakers. I talk about everything that you can imagine related to real estate. And we have some mentorship opportunities in there as well. If it's something that you're really serious about, but you don't quite know what steps to take, we do teach BRRRR, and it's every step of the process. We have bi-weekly calls within the mentor program. So we look at open Q&A, and we also have a specific deal analysis call every week where you're actually like looking at 3 deals a week and understanding how the calculator works. We look at deals before someone buys them. And then we also go back and do that reset that I was explaining. So we do like a postmortem and show, hey, did this deal work out the way that I thought? What did we learn, right? So those are the 2 calls. There's also some like on-demand videos through every step from establishing the essentials, getting rent ready, what repairs to do, finding the right renters, and then manage ongoing care. So we have on-demand videos for all that. And then we also have the resource vault, which is like, honestly, I think the coolest thing. It's it's ever growing. So I want to say right now is like 10 pages of links out to like every single document that you would ever need in order to run your long-term rental business.
Fabulous resource.
What was that?
Fabulous resources.
It is. Yeah, it really is. So that's the Rentals Made Easy program. If you guys are interested and like really want to take this a step further and I did a live stream on the page. If you join the group, it was just like a week ago, where I talked about the top 10 mistakes that I made in real estate. And I hadn't sat down and like looked at them all in one place. And oh my God, it was so painful. I think it added up to like, it was like over 400K of like dumb stuff that I did. So if you want to not do that and just kind of get like a shortcut, tried and true method, just reach out to me on the group and we can book a call and I kind of see if it's something that would work for you.
No, just gives me a great idea. I think one of these days I'm going to go and pick a bunch of our investor friends, like have you on and just say, what was that one thing, that big mistake you made, and tell the story. If we had 10 people do that,
yeah,
that would make a great little show.
That would be really good.
Yeah.
We had the SWAT team raid a house one time.
Oh, fun.
I hired a friend who like stole a bunch of money. What else did I do? Just go watch it. I just spill my soul. It's no secrets.
No, I had the cops show up on me. I already ever at a house this year doing a rehab. I just gotten, the house had been vacant for 3 years and we bought it through auction. And so I showed up on a Sunday to change the locks. We just got ownership of it. And as I was going through the house and securing it, I had this feeling. So I look out, driveway, here comes a couple cop cars whipping in, and that was fun. Actually, that made me feel good because somebody's watching the house, right? One of my neighbors was concerned enough to go, there's a car over there that shouldn't be there. So,
I mean, stories. As long as they didn't shoot all your windows out, that's good.
Jessie, thank you so much for coming on. We so appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been fun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thank everyone for coming on. Cindy, I'm glad you came back.
I know. Let me tell you, I was in deep thought and ready to ask questions, and I was like, what? And I thought it was you, Shane, that your internet went out, and I was like, oh crap, it's me.
How funny.
But I really appreciate it. I have tons of questions, but I'm going to ask you offline.
Okay. Yeah, please do. You can know where to find me.
Yeah, I have your number. I can bother you.
That's you are permission granted. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much. And sorry about my dog, but okay.
Thank y'all. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.